everyone. So this is another video that I just wanted to make to kind of talk about where my mind is at right now. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately and just realizing some things about myself and how I'm going to be continuing on with this journey. So I wanted to share that with you. I want to preface that by saying that, these are just my thoughts and what I've been thinking. You don't necessarily have to agree with what I'm saying, and I'm open to any discussion or, any differing opinions. That's totally fine. You can leave your comments down below and we can have a discussion about it. But this is kind of where my head is at right now and what I want to kind of focus on moving forward. I did mention in my update video yesterday that I wasn't going to be doing body measurements, and I'm still not going to be doing body measurements. And I was thinking that I probably will weigh perhaps maybe once a month if I feel like it. I'm not sure if I will. I'll probably just step on the scale once in a while, but I'm not really going to pay too much attention to those numbers because I really am feeling like it's really insignificant and it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of life and my journey along this transformation I'm trying to do for myself. That number is really meaningless. So I want to kind of go into why I'm feeling like that and why I'm making these changes. So I did make a few notes, so pardon me if I look down every once in a while just to check my page. So I wanted to kind of talk about a few different subjects here. First things first, though, is I want to talk about the scale. I've heard many people say that the number on the scale is not an accurate measure of your progress or how you're doing, because it really is only measuring your gravitational pull at any particular time. For example, I can step on the scale, and this happened. I stepped on the scale, it said I weighed, whatever it said. And then I went to write it down, but then by the time I got back to my book, I forgot what the weight was because, I do have a crappy memory. But anyway, so I forgot what the weight was. So then I went back and said, okay, I'll weigh myself again and get the number again. Weighed myself again. It said I was 1 pound more. Like, that was not even a minute later. I stepped on the scale a second time and it said I was 1 pound higher than what it said the first time. So it's like, that doesn't even make any sense. So that's why I really don't want to go by the scale, because the number can change. That number doesn't really tell you anything other than a number. And what does it matter? Like, to me, like, I have a goal that I want to take off the extra weight that I'm carrying on my body, but who's to say what the final number is going to be? I can say, oh, I want to weigh 120 pounds, but I may never get to that number. And if I'm only relying on the scale and I can never get to that number, that scale is going to rule my life. I'm always going to be obsessed with, oh, I can't get to 120. I need to get to 120. If I don't get to 120, I'm a failure. And that's totally wrong. Like, I've come a long way on this journey so far, and if I was just to focus on the scale that fluctuates and goes up and down depending on when you step on it, what's going on at that particular time. Are you having your period? Are you going through PMS? Are you bloated for some reason? Like, you just don't know what is going to influence that scale. So why put so much focus on it? So I'm not going to do that anymore. So that's number one. Same with body measurements. I agree that body measurements are better than using a scale to track progress. But still, what measurements, and according to who? Like, who is saying, oh, I want to get to a certain waist size or a certain chest size, you know, and that can even fluctuate because you're not going to be able to measure yourself in the exact same spot every single time. So it could always be off each time you take your measurements, which then could be an inaccurate reading. And to me, it's more numbers, and I don't want to go by numbers. I don't want to put any sort of, not necessarily unrealistic, but I don't want to put any sort of expectation on myself to get to a certain number. I want to get away from that. Because to me, the numbers don't mean anything anyway. And who is that for? Like, am I trying to fit into somebody else's standard of what I should look like, how much I should weigh, how much I should measure? Like, whose standard am I going by? If I'm going by my own standards, I want to just feel good in my skin and whatever clothes I'm wearing. Yes, I don't want to be overweight. I'm still, this isn't stopping me from continuing on the plan that I'm on. But I'm just going to measure my progress differently than maybe a lot of other people. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that don't weigh themselves and they don't take measurements, and you let your body do what it's going to do. And they're perfectly fine, excuse me. So what I'm going to focus on for my journey and from this point forward is, number one, how do I feel? How do I feel? Do I feel healthy? Do I feel like I'm moving forward? Do I feel like I'm making progress? Number two, how do my clothes fit? I think that's the biggest thing, is how do your clothes fit? You can tell by what you're wearing whether or not you're taking off weight, because your clothes are going to start fitting bigger. And, I've noticed that started to happen for me. My pants are fitting bigger. I can get into a smaller size than I was. So I know that I'm getting progress, and it's really important to just be patient with the process. I don't want to put a timeline. I don't want to say, oh, in 1 year, I want to lose X amount of pounds. For some people that works, and for some people that's great. But for me, I don't like that. Because I feel like if I don't get to that goal, that I'm going to be disappointed in myself. And it shouldn't be about that. It should be about just doing what's best for you, eating the healthiest food for your body, moving your body more every day, getting out there, getting exercise, and just letting your body do what it's going to do. You're not going to lose weight every single week. And people need to realize that's not a realistic expectation, to think that you're going to lose weight every single week. Because things change. You're going to have an off week. You're going to have a week where if you're a woman, hormones are going to get involved and you're going to maybe put on a bit of water weight. That's going to happen. So instead of focusing on something so insignificant as a scale to measure your worth, because a lot of people put a lot of value in that scale, and if they don't see the numbers going down, it can bother a lot of people. And I used to be one of those people. If I gained weight, I would be so disappointed in myself, and then I would punish myself by starving myself that whole day. Because, oh, you gained weight, why did you do that? And all that negative self-talk comes out. But unless you can have a healthy relationship with the scale and it motivates you, for me, I'm not going to use it anymore. Maybe once a month, maybe less than that, who knows? But I'm not gonna rely on that anymore. What else? So when you're on this type of a journey, like I know myself, like every day I remind myself of why I'm doing this. I mean, number one, I'm doing this for my health. I want to get better. I want to get off medication. I want to, feel better and be able to enjoy my life and be able to be active with my son and my husband. I have goals for sure, and Some of those goals are to start cycling more, start cycling with my family. I would like to maybe start running. I know my husband likes to go running, so I wouldn't mind maybe going running with him at some point. I just want to be more active, but my main goal is to just do what's best for me, and that includes following, you know, a whole foods plant-based diet, sticking with the Ultimate Weight Loss Program. That's definitely going to be something that's staying long term, and I'm not worried about the rest of it. Whatever, it's going to happen. I'm just going to keep following the plan that I'm on, and I know that I will reach my goals of taking off this extra weight, and whatever the end number is what it's going to be. I'm not going to obsess over that. So that kind of changes the way that I do things. So, you know, you're not going to see me posting videos with body measurements. I may do a weigh-in once in a while, but mainly my journey that I'm going to post here on YouTube is just going to be, you know, the food that I'm eating, you know, maybe some of the activities that I'm doing and updating on how I'm doing and things like that, recipes and stuff like that. But I just don't think that it is worth it to get so hung up on numbers, and that's just the way I'm feeling now. You know, I know that there's a reason why I got to this place where now I'm having to fight to gain my health back. We all have a story, and you kind of have to be okay with that, or you kind of have to make peace with what's happened in your past. You know, if you need to get help, you know, going through that and talking to, you know, somebody professional to help you with your issues, I mean, I would highly recommend you doing that. I did have counseling many years ago for the issues that I went through as a child, and even as an older, you know, young adult with my parents. And you know, I won't get into all of that, but so I did deal with a lot of that before, for the reasons why, you know, I started overeating and developed a good relationship with food and developed food addictions. But I know a lot of the way that I am or have been in the recent years has been a lot out of habit and just food addictions. And, you know, I've still carried some of that emotional baggage from when I was younger, because, you know, sometimes it's hard to process, you know, when you've gone through traumas and emotional scars and that sort of thing. And when things happen, it kind of brings up old memories, and then the things that, you know, that are comforting to you, or the things that made you feel okay, usually were things that weren't the greatest for you. And in my case, it was, you know, junk food and a lot of high fat, high salt, high sugar foods that, you know, although it feels good at the time, it really doesn't take away any of the issues that you have, the underlying issues. They're still going to be there when you're done. And if anything, you're going to feel like crap after you've eaten what you've eaten. So I've gone through all of that. So I think that it's really important to be able to just sit with your emotions rather than reaching out for something to kind of swallow it down, which is hard to do. It is hard for some to do that. It was hard for me for a long time to really deal with the emotions and kind of what's happening. And there are still some things even now that I haven't, you know, completely dealt with, that I know that I'm hanging on to. But I really feel like since I started this Ultimate Weight Loss Program, that getting rid of the salt, oil, and sugar has really made it easier for me to not eat the things that I would normally turn to when I'm having a stressful day, or, you know, because I feel really satisfied with the food that I'm eating, and I'm not really having any cravings, except, you know, I've had a few issues in the last week, but aside from that, I'm not having any cravings, and I'm feeling really good right now. So I want to keep that momentum going. And I think part of that is going to be focusing on me, not focusing on an outside thing like a scale or taking my measurements, because I don't want to, like, I know a lot of people will say, or maybe will say, I don't know, that, you know, keeping measurements is good because it keeps you on track, and same with the scale. You know, a lot of people use it as a tool, but and some people will say perhaps that, you know, if you're not going to set specific goals, that just gives you an excuse to not do anything. And, you know, I understand that, but I don't believe that's true. I think that if you are focusing on eating the healthiest food, and in my opinion, that's a whole food plant-based diet, no oil, no salt, no sugar, no gluten. For me, no gluten, because I do better without. And you move your body every day, you get enough sleep, you drink enough water, you know, you're taking care of yourself emotionally, your body is going to go back to its natural size. You don't need a scale to tell you whether you're doing good or you're doing bad, because that doesn't matter. You don't need to take your body measurements to tell you if you're doing good or you're doing bad, because that doesn't matter. You know, and that's just the way that I'm thinking right now. So, and maybe I may change down the road, who knows. But for now, that's kind of what I'm going to do. Sorry if this was a bit rambly or a bit long, but I just wanted to put that out there. And yeah, so whatever you do, just make sure that you're doing what is comfortable for you. And as long as it helps you on your journey, then by all means do it. If weighing yourself once a week helps to keep you on track, then by all means weigh yourself once a week if that's what you need to do. If taking your body measurements helps you stay on track, or, you know, you use it as a tool and it's not something that you obsess over, then that's healthy. Then you can do that. You know, I'm not here telling you not to do that. I'm just saying, for me, usually I end up getting a little too focused on it. And then I put a lot of value in those numbers when I really shouldn't, because there isn't a lot of value in those numbers, for me anyway, in my opinion. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share today. I hope you liked this video. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below, and I'd love to have a conversation about this. Thanks for stopping by and checking out this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Sorry guys, I had one more thing I wanted to say. I think most importantly, what is important is to put yourself first. You gotta put yourself first. You have to love yourself, and you have to love yourself without conditions. So that means regardless of how much you weigh, regardless of what size your pants are, you have to just love yourself through everything, through your successes, through your failures. No matter what, you have to put yourself first, and you have to give yourself that love. Because if you can't do that, then you're going to be stuck. You may be able to make some progress and move forward, but you're going to end up going back. It's always going to happen. And that happened to me for many years. I would go up and down, yo-yo with my weight, and it didn't matter what I did, because I was always trying to punish myself, and I never really loved myself. I always felt like I wasn't worthy. And you have to tell yourself, and you have to believe that you are worthy of this. You are worthy of many things. But if you're on a journey to get healthier, to shed extra weight, you know, get a new job, or whatever it is that you're working towards, you have to truly feel that you're worthy of that. Otherwise, it's not going to come to you. You're not going to get it. And that to me is probably the most important thing out of all of this, is that you just have to love yourself, and you have to put yourself first. Because if you can't do that, then you might have struggles along the way. I mean, you may eventually get there, but a lot of times you end up backpedaling and going back and gaining weight and things like that. I've done it. I've been there, done that. So I just wanted to put that out there as a final thought. And thanks again for watching. And I'll check you out at my next video. Bye.